All right, episode two, Pittsburgh Post Gazette Pod. We got Wild Card Weekend recap and Dallas Tampa Bay preview. So let's get into that first game, Seattle, San Francisco. San Francisco won 41-23. 49ers cover the 9.5 over 42.5 hits. Mason, what are your takeaways?
All right, so some takeaways from that one. I thought, the 49ers definitely came out hot and then struggled a little bit with the Seahawks. Kind of had my hopes up on the Seahawks cover there for a minute. 49ers were always in the back of my mind. It's just a different team. Christian McCaffrey and that defense, I knew second half they'd come out guns blazing, which they did. Fully expected that over cash, which I was happy with that. But didn't get some props there. Can't remember.
I know McCaffrey's rushing over hit. He scored a touchdown. Debo scored.
Yeah, the Debo, Christian McCaffrey on the yards and the touchdown, those were all big props to hit for us. So, great there. But I think everybody expected 49ers here to run away with it, which they did in the second half. So foolish on me for the Seahawks cover.
Yeah, Seattle definitely hung around there in the first half. 49ers kind of pulled away in the second half, as you said. Purdy looked really good, 300 yards, three TDs. I think he's still the question mark for that team. It's, if can he consistently do that throughout the playoffs? They're going to get another home playoff game. Eventually, if they're going to get to the Super Bowl, they're most likely going to have to go on the road at some point. I'm thinking Philadelphia, so that'll be the true test. But I mean, this still with that defense and McCaffrey and all the offensive weapons with Debo, Ayuk, George Kittle. This is still a dark horse Super Bowl team. I mean, they can definitely get there. Can they win it? I don't know, but it all come down to Purdy. So next game, what a game! Your Jags, about as worse of a first half that you could have. Trevor Lawrence, four picks. They score late in the second quarter, right before halftime. Chargers are getting the ball to start the second half. That Jags defense in the second half only allowed 3 points. Trevor Lawrence comes back, throws four TDs. I mean, what a game. What a game.
Yeah, I mean it. Like you said, what a game. Completely shell shocked in that one. I will say, as a fellow Jags fan, when we were down 27-0, I did step away there for a minute. Just had to. But when I saw that we scored the touchdown right before half, had to get back downstairs, had to cut it back on. Just had something in me that was telling Trevor was going to come back out there, get everybody rallied up. I knew that defense would come out hot. Defense has played outstanding, these past 6 games. Trevor early scared me very much, and it scares me more so going into KC this coming week. I know for a fact we cannot go down even 14-0 and expect to come back and win that game. Just not a spot where we can do that. So a lot of things to tighten up. Trevor Lawrence being the biggest thing. I think he's got to play with a little bit more confidence, make some smarter throws for sure. And if our defense can just keep on trucking, staying strong. They covered the field pretty good, I thought. Got some good props. Didn't get the ETN touchdown, which I thought was the easiest one on the day.
What killed
So
that they were down at the goal line and they got to delay a game. They got the playoff. Like you could see it developing, and ETM was going to walk in for the score, got pushed
yep,
back 5 yards, and then Lawrence threw a TD pass, I think, to Ingram.
yep.
So, yeah, I mean, all in all, I think this game says more about Justin Herbert than it does Trevor Lawrence. I mean, you can't go up by four scores in that game and then come out in the second half and only get 3 points on the board. I mean, you
Agreed.
can't do that if you're going to be among the elite quarterbacks in the AFC, the Burrows, the Mahomes, Josh Allen. You can't do that in the second half. Um, credit to Trevor Lawrence for coming back, battling back, and getting his team back in that game. And how about that 2-point conversion call from Peterson?
Man,
That took some
talk
balls.
about a playoff guy.
Yeah, I mean, that was in Joey Bosa taking that penalty on the play
That was
before, put
huge.
him in that position to get it right there on the one. So yeah, I mean, Jags got a tough one next week, but hey, I mean, I think they got a shot. I mean,
Yeah,
so
definitely in it.
yeah. Next game, Miami Buffalo. This one was 34-31 Buffalo. Miami covered the 14, overhit. In this one, Buffalo jumped out to an early lead. They really did. It went as expected until the turnover started to happen. Allen with 2 picks and the fumble that really put Miami back in this game. I don't think it should have been as close as it was if it weren't for those turnovers. Hell, Miami probably wins this game if Tua plays. That's how bad Buffalo was at points in this game, turning the ball over. Just given, when you have a team down like that, just like the Jags, you got to put them to bed. You can't give them any life. So credit to Buffalo for holding on there at the end, but this kind of makes me nervous for Buffalo. I mean, they're one of the Super Bowl favorites here, and they're going to have Cincinnati next week. You cannot turn the ball over 3 times and expect to win. You can't turn the ball over 4 times and expect to win. So, um, yeah, Buffalo's moving on, but kind of got me worried for games coming up.
Yeah, definitely. I can't speak a whole lot on this game. As you know, I was on the golf course early Sunday morning. I was keeping track on my phone though, so I did see the Bills go up early on, and I had the Bills spread and the over, so that made me feel really good seeing it out there. But then I did get the alerts on the 2 turnovers, and I was like, oh man, what is going on in Buffalo? So had me worried there for a bit. I do think Buffalo is beatable after watching that. I think Josh Allen made some honestly bad mistakes from him. You usually don't see that from Josh Allen, I don't think. So kind of curious what was going on in his head. Maybe, just getting back out there, they maybe just didn't have it all and they'll have it next week, but we'll see. Couple bad beats on the bets though. The Tyreek Hill anytime touchdown score, I thought that was easy. The being the best guy on the Dolphins, #1 target, figured that he was going to get in the end zone. Did cash on his receptions. He had him at 4.5, got 7, so good play there. We had the Stephon Diggs over 6.5. That cashed right at 7 receptions, so snuck that last one to get that as a go. One more that we missed was the Devin Singletary anytime touchdown score. Kind of figured a running game in that one, so thought that was an easy play, but I guess not. And that's about all I have for that game. Just a messy game for the Bills. I think they'll improve on that next week, though.
Yeah, I think when we had talked about this on that first episode, we had talked about leaning on the under here. Bills jump out to an early lead, but once those turnovers started, I mean, that was dead. I mean,
Yeah.
that under wasn't going to hit. So, same for the Jags. I think we were on the under for that, and you get those 4 turnovers. It's hard to expect low scoring game when you give away possessions like that, create short fields for the other team.
Right.
Moving on to what I thought was probably the best game of the weekend. Giants, Minnesota. Giants end up winning 31-24. They cover the 2.5, the over hits. I don't know how in the world I put in the under. We talked about this first episode. We were going to tease Giants and the over. I don't know what I did, but I put in the under, and it was a loser from the first quarter. So I didn't catch it until after the game started. There was no cash out option. I mean, it was dead in the water. And even still, I only missed it by a half point. So But in this one, Daniel Jones really impressed me. 300 yards, two TDs. He ran the ball well on the ground, 80 yards. I know he converted a lot of first downs.
Yes.
Justin Jefferson, disappointment. I know Giants, had a game plan to stop him. 7 catches, only I think 50 yards, maybe no touchdowns. Kirk Cousins, man, 4th and 8, check down. You cannot throw the ball below the sticks on that play. Season on the line, you can't check down there. You got to take a risk. I don't know why you're not throwing it to Jefferson there as the best player on the field. Got to get him the ball in those situations. So, a typical Kirk Cousins ending right there. I hate it because I'm a fan of his and the Vikings, but Giants move on. So,
Yep. Giants are moving on, and I did have this as a money line play. This was one of my sneaky dogs of the weekend going in. Just like I said before in the first episode, Vikings are frauds, and the biggest takeaway that I had from the Vikings is yes, Justin Jefferson is easily the best wide receiver in the league, but in past weeks, some of these defenses have been able to make him non-existent, and that kills the Vikings. That's their bread and butter. Justin
yeah.
Jefferson, Kirk Cousin connection. I mean, you don't have that, and you're trying to stay on the ground with Dalvin Cook. That New York Giants defense sniffed it right out, shut them down. They didn't have any answer for it. And this Giants defense, I mean, they played a heck of a game. They got down and dirty. But Daniel Jones, man, whew, what a performance by him. I didn't think anything close to 300 yards, but wow. Kind of cleared the board on this one in the bets. We had New York Giants money line, the +3 and the over on the tees, like we talked about in episode 1. Couple of the props that we got, Saquon Barkley anytime touchdown score. Kind of thought that one was a given, and he ended up with 2. So I mean, it would have been nice to have a two-time touchdown score there. We also had the Darius Slayton over 3.5 receptions that cashed with 4, so we got that one to go. Didn't cast the
Huge
Dalvin
drop
Cook
there in the fourth quarter. He had a
Yes,
huge
yeah,
drop.
huge drop, yeah, and you could tell that one kind of burned him up a bit. He was
Yeah.
pretty hard on himself after that one. Only prop we dropped going back to the Dalvin Cook and shut down. Couldn't get the touchdown because, like I said, Giants defense, they knew he was coming. So that's about all I have from this game. Dark horse Giants though, watch out, Philly.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a tough game for the Giants against Philly on the road next week. I don't think AJ Brown or Devontae Smith are at the level Justin Jefferson is, but when you put two good wide receivers on the field, you're going to have to pick one to stop, and
Yep,
the other one will have to step up. So definitely a tough matchup. Should be a fun game though.
agreed,
All right,
agreed.
last game of the weekend so far, Cincinnati, Baltimore. Cincinnati wins 24-17. Baltimore with the cover at 7.5. The over hitting this one as well. Overs were 5-0 this weekend.
Yes, hot.
Burrow only 200 yards, one passing, one rushing touchdown. Uh, this game was really boring. I wasn't all that into it. I thought Cincinnati would come out and blow Baltimore out of the water. That credit the Baltimore defense for keeping them in the game. Tyler Huntley made some plays. He's just not good enough to beat these elite AFC teams. So
Yeah, I thought the game overall, going into the game, I kind of thought it was going to be more out of hand in Cincy's favor. I had the overplayed and Cincy on the spread. I thought they were going to get the over pretty much on their own in this one. Should have maybe checked on myself there. Anytime these two teams match up, it can get really nasty, really dirty. Baltimore knows how to slow down any offense, and they played their best defense they could. Tyler Huntley played great, not great enough though. Just still more development there, and not really a guy you want to have in a winning drive situation. I don't think. Did they have anybody else they could go to? Probably not. But that was the downfall in that game for me. Joe Burrow, not a great performance. Like you said, 200 yards, kind of on the smaller side from what we've been seeing from him in the past weeks. Me personally, I didn't have a bunch played on this game. Like I said, I did have the under and the Bengals on the spread, so I did get burned there, which is okay. And that's really all I got from this game. Not very impressed, but Bengals move on. We'll see how they look next week.
Yep, big matchup against Buffalo.
Yes.
That much anticipated Monday night game we didn't get, so that should be a fun one.
Yes, agreed.
All right, tonight we got the last game of Wild Card Weekend. Dallas -3 at Tampa Bay, over unders 45.5. And
Yes.
looking at the action, we got a lot of sharps on Dallas. There's some big money on Tampa Bay, and then we got sharps and big money on the over. Some quick stats: Dak 0-4 against the spread in the playoffs. Tom Brady 3-0 against the spread and straight up as a playoff underdog. What are you looking for in this game?
Well, I'm gonna toss one more stat I had written down here about Tom Brady being 7-0 against the Cowboys. And that one just, I mean, I went to bed last night thinking about that, and it's just, I woke up, same thing was there, went straight to Bovada, put my money on Tampa Bay money line. I have them on the spread. My favorite play in this, safest play, I'm calling this the bank play because you can put whatever is in the bank on this and it'll be there for you in the morning. So over 39.5 and Tampa Bay plus 8.5. That's a 6-point tease. You can go ahead and safely play whatever you want on that number. And you can message me in the morning when it clears.
Okay.
Moving on into that, I do think the Buccaneers are going to be a little bit too much for Dallas's defense to handle. And the only reason I say that last game, they went back to their normal Bucks. Tom Brady was doing his thing. Mike Evans went nuclear. I think the same thing here. So I do have some hot props for you. Go ahead and play Mike Evans over 63.5 on his receiving yards. Go play off Lenny anytime touchdown here. This dude has been waiting for this. He's going to get in that end zone. Mike Evans anytime touchdown score, I think is a safe bet there. If you're going to go his receptions, go ahead and play his touchdown prop. One more, Russell Gage over 2.5 receptions. So Tom Brady only has him and Otten playing the tight end position tonight. So I think he'll lean more on Gage here. I think that's more of his favorite tight end between those two. So look for that. And I think the Cowboys can make this thing interesting. I don't know. Their defense is going to really have to show up and they're going to have to play their best game all year to shut down the Bucks in this one, Brandon.
Yeah, when I first saw this game on the card, I was all over Tampa Bay. This just seems like everyone is forgetting about Tom Brady. Everybody's, expecting Dallas to come out and steamroll them. Tom Brady in the playoffs, you don't make money betting against him. But, this year he's 4-12 against the spread. He's not had a great year. The Bucks are getting healthy at the right time. I just feel like Dallas wins this game. I really do. At some point, Dak Prescott's got to put it together. Mike McCarthy's coaching for his job here. I think if they lose this game, he's gone. I think Sean Payton comes in next year. So, I mean, this is a must win for Dallas. I mean, it's a must win for both teams. It's the playoffs, but for Dak and for Mike McCarthy, you got to get the job done here. I don't know. They haven't won a playoff game in probably like 4 years, 4 or 5 years. You paid Dak all that money. You paid Zeke all that money. CeeDee Lamb's coming up soon. You got to win this game. You have to. Now, the line, some places it's 3, some places it's 2.5.
Yeah.
I could see this almost being like a Jags Chargers where it's 1 or 2 points. So that spread's kind of scary a little bit. If I was going to play either side, I would probably play Dallas money line. I don't think I'm going to bet the side. I think I'm going to bet the over here. Now, overs are 5-0, so we're due for regression at some point. But this is going to be a shootout. I think throws the ball probably 50 times. I think Brady throws the ball 50 times. The Bucks like to come out and establish the run. The running game has just not been there this year. Bucks get back Ryan Jensen, their center, so that'll be a big help for some kind of interior pressure on Tom Brady. But I think, it's going to be a lot of scoring, a lot of throwing the ball. I think CeeDee Lamb has a great game. You mentioned Mike Evans. I think he has a great game. I do think Dallas runs the ball though. Regardless, I think they like to run the ball with Pollard and Zeke. That's their strength. So, I'd probably lean towards a Zeke touchdown over Pollard, but I could see them both scoring. I think CeeDee Lamb is a for sure anytime touchdown scorer bet.
Agreed.
But I think the over 45.5. I think that's the smart play here. I think that's the easy play here. Just no sweat on either side. Just bet the over, enjoy the game, enjoy the points, sprinkle in some anytime touchdown scores, Mike Evans, CeeDee Lamb. But if I had to pick a team, I would pick Dallas, but would not be surprised if Tampa Bay wins this game.
Yep. Yeah. So going back to what you just said on the spreads and how we both feel. So really for people out there, if you want to play either side on that teaser, that's your safest play with us, giving you the over and saying this is going to be a 1-point game. Guys, you can play it either side and get the cover. So
Yeah. Yeah, Ben, if play it even safer, Tampa Bay is probably the better team to sprinkle in that teaser just because you get more leeway there.
yeah.
So, but
Should be an interesting game though. Like you said, I do think Dallas will run the ball heavy here in the early.
all right. So we'll check in with you guys Saturday on the divisional round preview, So let's win some bets.
Yep. Good luck.